I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm incredibly upset right now. NerdWire's producers made me watch the Alvin and the Chipmunks episode Cookie Chomper III, and I am not okay. This is single-handedly the most effed up episode of television I've ever seen. I'm Whitney Van Laningham, and I honestly don't even have to ruin this one because this one ruined me. Keep watching because today I'm gonna ruin Cookie Chomper III and your entire life. Okay, so let's start off with a little bit of chipmunk history before we dive into this horror show. First things first, their backstory is incredibly bleak, y'all. I guess I haven't seen this show since I was 5, because I definitely don't remember the part where the Chipmunks were abandoned by their mother on a struggling songwriter's doorstep as infants. Luckily, David Seville, the Chipmunks' dadager, saw their potential as singers and took them in. Fun fact, David Seville was actually the stage name of the creator of Alvin and the Chipmunks, Ross Bagdasarian. He's the guy who wrote the Witch Doctor song that goes ooh ee ooh ah ah. And he had so much success with the speeded up vocal sound that he decided to create an entire cartoon about it. His cartoon alter ego, David Seville, has a hard time raising the Chipmunks at first. He's struggling to make ends meet as a songwriter, and the Chipmunks aren't exactly helping. They're so wild and rambunctious that David's landlord threatens to kill them and evict David. Luckily, the Chipmunks turn out to be David's meal ticket to stardom, and their band kicks off, allowing the Seville family to move into a bigger home with a less murdery landlord. Apparently, the Chipmunks' deadbeat mom comes around to visit sometimes, but I'm not buying that it's because she regrets abandoning them. I think the mom is basically just doing what Justin Bieber's dad did to him when he got famous. David doesn't seem to think that he's riding on the Chipmunks' coattails at all, proven in the intro of this episode.
Really put the boys on the map, and with one success after another, well, they paved the way for a whole host of singing animal acts.
Anyways, backstory over, on to the horror! The episode opens up with some very serial killery behavior on Alvin's part. Homeboy fully body slams Theodore's stuffed dinosaur Muffin and actually tries to strangle him. If your kid's beaten up on small animals, toys, or humans, it's time to get them checked for a little personality disorder called sociopathy. Theodore is obviously appropriately concerned, but Simon just sits there reading the newspaper like he doesn't even care about the science behind mental disorders. Just then, the phone rings. Surprise! It's David! Here to tell Simon that he's in charge for babysitting his whack-job siblings, even though I'm pretty sure that they're all around the same age. The 80s and 90s. Remember when being a latchkey kid was a thing, and your dad stayed late at the office, and you had to microwave yourself a fettuccine alfredo lean cuisine just to survive?
Are you leaving me in charge?
Just for a few hours.
Excellent!
Simon does his best Danny Tanner impersonation and tries to put Alvin and Theodore to bed. But of course, Alvin just wants to scare the poop out of his little brother. He starts sarcastically calling Simon Daddy, which is weirdly sexual, and also what Chris and I call our producer Brett.
Hi, Dad. Now don't you start. But you're our... What did you call it?
Dad! Why'd you make me watch this episode? It's too scary!
Whitney, it's a children's cartoon about chipmunks. You'll survive, and please stop calling me Dad.
Okay! No, but seriously, he really calls him Daddy right before he starts describing the weirdest ghost I've ever heard of.
Daddy, are there such things as ghosts with suction cups on their fingers and toes that would jump on you and bite you in the dark?
Okay, the daddy thing was scary enough. I don't think you had to start describing the exact kind of ghost that would be able to hold traction on any surface. Of course, Theodore's fear only further motivates Alvin to be a total dickwad and start making ghost noises. Until, of course, Alvin stops making ghost noises and the noises become real.
That wasn't me. Theodore, was that you? No. There's something out there.
The Chipmunks get out of bed to investigate, and of course, these two a-holes lock their brother in a room with a potential ghost. Fortunately, the ghost turns out to be the world's most adorable little kitten. I'm just gonna warn you guys now, do not get attached to this kitten. I made that mistake, and now I need therapy. The Chipmunks decide to keep their new feline friend a secret from David, who is deathly allergic to cats. Hope the Seville house is stocked with EpiPens. David comes in to get a goodnight kiss from the Chipmunks, and that's when this happens.
Wow, that was quite a kiss.
So, David thought his kid just licked his face and is cool with it? Tight. Alvin recruits his new cat friend to help him with his chores, and wants to name him something badass like Crusher, or Chomper, or some other name that sounds like a can of Axe body spray. Simon doesn't feel too great about animal labor, so he orders Alvin to stop making their cat Moonlight as a dishwasher. Alvin and Theodore get into a huge sibling fight about whether to name their new pet something sweet like Cookie or something full of rage like Chomper, and Simon settles the debate by naming him Cookie Chomper III. I don't think they know how generation naming works, but whatever. David comes home and immediately realizes something is up, but of course, his kids use the old Jane Fonda excuse and he backs off.
It's, the new Jane Fonda workout, Dave. Right, Alvin? Right.
Next, we see a bunch of really fun shots of Alvin, Simon, Theodore, and Cookie being playful and sweet and adorable. I just want to burn this image of the softest, most innocent little baby cat in the world into your brain before I destroy your entire life. Also, here's some very accurate footage of our producers talking to me every single time I come to the studio to shoot.
Now, I want you boys to be on your best behavior.
Aren't we always, Dave?
No, Alvin. Not always, not mostly, not usually.
Okay, come on. I'm not that bad. I'm always good. I'm always on time. I always do exactly what you want me to do. Right, Brett?
No, Whitney. Not always, not mostly, not usually.
Okay. David invites his boo thing, Roxanne, over for dinner. Of course, Cookie Chomper smells nom-noms at the dinner table and has to check it out. Theodore notices Cookie under the table, and the hijinks ensue while the boys try to hide him from David. Don't worry, guys. You won't have to hide him for long. Of course, David finally finds out about Cookie, and his baby girlfriend convinces him to let the boys keep the kitty.
Oh,
Can we keep it?
Of course. Oh, I just love kittens. Don't you, Dave?
of course.
Here's another sweet scene where we get emotionally attached to this kitten. Look at that little fluff ball gently cradled in Theodore's arms. Just one sweet little animal snuggling another. I want to kiss him. David even gets him a little collar with his name on it. Why are you doing this to me? Cool, so I'm falling even more in love with this cat, and the boys decide to give him a bubble bath. Look, he's teaching the boys responsibility and love. But we're only 10 minutes in, so there's still time for something horrible to happen. Next, there's a quick little anti-vaxxer scene where Simon tries to convince David that his allergies are all in his head, and that if he really wants to get better, he should stop taking allergy medication and start reprogramming his brain to quit indulging the placebo effect he experiences whenever he sneezes at Cookie. He does a whole thing with flashcards and therapy, but the bottom line is, Simon doesn't believe in taking medicine when you're sick, and that's a big problem.
Dave, you realize your allergy could be entirely psychosomatic.
I doubt it.
Freaking great! Here's some more cute scenes while we wait for Cookie's inevitable demise. We've got David kissing Cookie goodnight, Simon making him a tiny little kitty bed, Theodore letting Cookie sleep with his teddy bear. You guys, can't we just end the episode right here with Cookie Chomper III fast asleep dreaming little kitty dreams? I really, really don't want to do the rest of this episode, okay? Please don't make me.
Whitney!
Okay! Unfortunately, moments after putting Cookie Chomper to bed, Alvin decides that he doesn't want his cat to be a pussy, so he takes his teddy bear away from him and puts it next to the open window. Cookie sees a bug dancing in front of the window and decides to chase after it. To my, and hopefully everyone's extreme horror, Cookie falls out of a second-story window. Oh, that's not so bad, right? Cats always land on their feet, right? This is just an episode about a lost kitten, right? Nope! A neighbor drops by in the morning to let them know that he also ran over Cookie Chomper III with his freaking car. Okay, I am sorry, but I really loved this cat. You people drew a sweet, innocent, animated kitty only to kill it off 13 minutes into the episode. You literally only created this poor, defenseless creature to die. I hope you're happy, Dick Entertainment, I really do. You're responsible for scarring millions of children and at least one very emotionally fragile adult woman. I'm gonna need a double dose of Lexapro and a big fluffy pillow stat. David breaks the news to the Chipmunks, who do not handle it well at all. Theodore is heartbreakingly convinced that Cookie Chomper is just lost and starts calling his name up and down the street. David tries to tell him that the cat is definitely 100% dead, but Theodore refuses to believe it. Okay, I get it. They're trying to teach us the stages of grief. so Theodore is obviously in denial. And then we have Alvin trying to throw away every living plant they have in their house in a fit of grief-stricken anger. Simon's just straight up depressed and refuses to participate in any activities he used to love. Finally, the three of them come together and embark on the stage of grief people rarely talk about, survivor's guilt. All three chipmunks feel personally responsible for Cookie's death, even though we all totally know that it was Alvin's fault. Why didn't you just let him sleep with the bear, dude? Why didn't you close your goddamn window? Alvin, it's no one's fault. Shut up, Dave. It definitely is. This cat did not have to die this way if your idiot foster children knew how to responsibly care for an animal. Now Cookie is dead, and I'm traumatized, and I'm never listening to the hula hoop song at Christmas again. To rub salt in the wound, this episode treats us to a full montage talking about this dead freaking cat. You know all those cute little kitten scenes you saw about 8 minutes ago? Great. Now rewatch them with the knowledge that the life was crushed out of this fragile creature by a Toyota Corolla while the chipmunks sing what sounds like a seal song.
We should remember all past faces, fond recollections, none can compare. If someone leaves us, just remember you're so much richer for all that you shared.
This honestly just makes me want to slit my wrists and join that cat in hell. Presumably the next day, David takes his kids to pick out a new pet at the animal shelter, because who needs more than 24 hours to grieve a dead pet? A sweet little puppy is immediately drawn to Theodore and even ends up winning over Simon. That's really cool and all, but I don't know if I trust these guys with another living animal.
Sloppy, but adorable.
Okay, so that was super depressing. Does anybody need to hug it out? The comment section of this video will be a safe space for anyone to cry and sob about dead cartoon animals for as long as they want until they feel better. Like and subscribe to NerdWire, check us out on Plex and Roku, and I'll be back next week to ruin your childhood. Hopefully with less dead pets.